Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. Many of you know me as a flute player, and I play covers of video game music, anime, TV shows, film, that kind of nerdy genre. But what many of you might not know is that I'm a Twitch streamer. You can find me over at twitch.tv/KatieSchesko. There'll be a link in the description below. And I stream there about 3 days a week currently. If you don't know this about me, and if you haven't figured it out from the kind of music that I cover, I'm an avid video gamer, and it is really video games and the music and the soundtracks that transport you to those worlds that really inspires the music that I currently create. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who has been viewing my Twitch channel and hanging out. I really appreciate it, even if you're a silent lurker. I appreciate you being there and watching and keeping me company as I go through all these bingos. I want to take a moment to especially thank everyone who's been a subscriber. I will have a list of their names here. Thank you so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. Your support means everything to me. And yeah, it's been a fantastic 4 years, and thank you so much. And all right, let's get on with the video. Today, we're going to be talking about Breath of the Wild bingos. Breath of the Wild is not only my favorite Zelda game, but it is one of my favorite games of all time. There's something about this world and the music that just really is so chill and relaxing and inspiring, and I really love playing this game. Currently, I've done 2 full 100% playthroughs with the DLC and normal mode and master mode, and I'm currently working on a third 100% playthrough, and yes, that includes all 900 Koroks, because I'm one of those weird people that when I play games, I tend to get everything in a game. I do this with most games that I play. So how did I find Breath of the Wild bingos? Well, it all started when I was doing an Ocarina of Time bingo multi-world with a couple of friends, and as I was perusing the bingo site, I was curious to see what other games that they had, because up until this point I had only heard of an Ocarina of Time bingo. Of course, the first thing I looked for was, do they have a Breath of the Wild bingo? And sure enough, boy do they have Breath of the Wild bingos, and I knew from that moment that I was definitely going to get lost in the world of bingos. What is a bingo? Well, let me switch you over to a different scene and we'll talk about it. This is a bingo board. It's essentially a 5x5 grid with 25 different goals on it. And it's really that simple. Now, let's talk about the different bingo versions. Number 1, you have what's called a standard bingo. This is your typical 5x5 bingo board. You can either get a row, you can get a column, or you can get a diagonal. A popular way that I like to play is called blackout, and this is essentially when you get all 25 goals on a bingo board, thus blocking out the board with your color. A popular way that I like to play is what's called a co-op blackout, in which you have 2 or more people working together, blocking out the entire board. I like to do this a lot with different viewers because it's a fun way to collaborate and work together to complete goals and figure out routing of who's going to do what, and it's just a lot of fun. Another variant of the blackout bingo is what's called a lockout, in which only one person can get 1 goal. Once that goal has been selected, no one else can get that goal, and it's a race to see who can get the most goals. I personally haven't done this yet. I prefer the co-op just because I like working with other people, but this is very popular among other bingo players and especially in bingo tournaments. Let's talk about the different types of Breath of the Wild bingos. I can only speak for Breath of the Wild as I've only done Breath of the Wild and Ocarina of Time bingos. Because the amount of content and how long some of the goals can be with Breath of the Wild, they have 3 different variants of the Breath of the Wild bingo: short, normal, and long. Let's take a minute and talk about each of these variants. We have a short bingo, and these are going to be simpler goals, things that don't take a lot of time or aren't necessarily dependent on completing something else in order to complete the goal. So for here, the full stealth set, that's something that you can purchase in a shop. You don't really need to do anything else, you just need to go to that specific shop to purchase it. Save a Traveler in Peril, these are all over Hyrule, and again, not dependent on any particular thing being done first. Any Boko equipment is another good example. There's Boko bokoblin enemies all over the place, so finding equipment like this is not dependent on any one specific location. You can pretty much find this anywhere. And that's what makes the short board short, is that a lot of the goals are not location specific or dependent on anything else. They're pretty easy to pick up, thus the short amount of time it takes to actually complete these. I personally can do a blackout short board in about 2.5 to 3.5 hours, just for some context. I can do a standard short bingo in under an hour. Next up we have is what's called a normal board, which is kind of like your medium board. Here you're gonna find things that take a little bit longer. You might have to do some divine beasts. You might have side quests that are dependent on divine beasts. You might find a lot more Koroks on this board. Here you can see we have 30 Korok, or activating a large number of towers, which just requires a lot of travel, thus takes longer to do. Things like 20 equipment in the compendium require that you go to Kakariko and Hatno to get the camera rune in order to even have access to the compendium, and that just takes time. And here we have activate 10 towers. Again, Sapphire Circlet means you have to go to Gerudo. Not only that, but you also have to find a Great Fairy to upgrade it to the 1-star. And again, these are things that just take a little bit more time than you would see in a short bingo. I can do a standard bingo in about an hour and a half, 2 hours if the board just happens to have a lot of really long goals on it. And when we usually do our co-op blackout bingos on my stream, they usually take us about 3.5 hours for everyone to complete all 25 goals. Next, we have what's called a long board. And again, this is going to have even more goals on there that are longer or have multiple steps in order to complete them. Things like the frog catching side quests require that you have defeated the divine beast in this region. Here we have specifically the divine beast, which you can find these on the normal board as well, but you now have a lot more shrines involved, and there's going to be more longer goals within the board as opposed to a normal board, which will have a couple of short goals interspersed so that if you choose any one particular row, it's not going to be long. Whereas this one is going to have almost every goal being a long or multi-step goal. I have not done one of these yet. I currently have on my channel a channel points challenge where viewers can donate their channel points, and if we reach 100,000 points, then I will do a blackout long board by myself in one stream. I fully expect it to take 8 hours or so, just because some of these quests can be very long, especially something like the Leviathan Bone side quest, when you are traveling to all 3 extremes of the map in order to take pictures of the Leviathan bones. So that's basically it. It's kind of short and sweet explanation of what a Breath of the Wild bingo is. Why do I like doing Breath of the Wild bingos? Well, to be frank, my audience was kind of bored of watching me collect Koroks all the time. And when I learned about Breath of the Wild bingos being a thing, it was a really interesting way to play the game. I've played this game so many times. I have more hours than I care to admit into the game. It was a new way to play the game, so I get every single time do a bingo, it's something different. I'm always learning new routes, new tricks, new tips, which I find very interesting. Okay, future editing Katie here. There was one thing that I completely forgot to mention yesterday, and another reason why I love Breath of the Wild bingo, and I thought it was important, so I wanted to take the moment here now while I was editing to do this. Another big reason why I personally love Breath of the Wild bingo is that it's very, very new player friendly. A lot of games where you do bingos, you have to learn a lot of glitches and tricks and stuff to kind of break sequence so that you can effectively do the bingo. But the nice thing about Breath of the Wild is because it's open, there's not a whole lot of glitches and tricks that you need to learn. Actually, in fact, there's no glitches and tricks that you need to learn in order to play a Breath of the Wild bingo. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some things that you need to know that in order to complete a goal, such as we're not going to talk about the fact that we didn't know that you had to talk to Impa for the dragons to spawn. So there's things like that, but that is more knowledge based and not glitch based. Yeah, that's what I really love about it, is that if you're willing to do the bingo, then you can do the bingo. There's really no extra things that you need to learn in order to effectively do it. Now, if you want to learn tricks such as wind bombs to make your movement more efficient, you can, but most of the people that I play with don't know how to do those tricks, and some of them might not ever learn because they don't really want to, and yet they can still do bingos and we can still play together, and it's still a lot of fun. So yeah, that's another big thing that really I think makes Breath of the Wild bingos that much more compelling to people, is the fact that you don't need to learn glitches and tricks and sequence breaks in order to do it. All right, back to Past Katie. Another thing that I really like is the puzzle aspect, especially when you're doing just a standard bingo. You have to take in the whole board and you have to figure out what row is going to be fastest, or which one do I think I can complete the fastest, because every person has their own ways that they play. They have their own tricks that they know how to do. They have their own personal play style and things that they're better at and things that they're not so good at. So if you don't like collecting Koroks and don't know where a lot of Koroks are, you're probably probably not going to want to pick a row that has 15 Koroks in it. You might want to avoid that. For me personally, I don't like going to a Kala or Gerudo in a bingo. It's just, they're hard to get to. Usually if you have to do them, you have to do several steps before you can even get there. So for me personally, I try to avoid those when I do a bingo, especially a 5-goal bingo. But some other people might be really fast in getting to those locations or are just really good at it, so they might not avoid things like that. So it's all personal preference, but it's the puzzle aspect of how can I get there the fastest? How can I make sure that as I'm going, I'm collecting things for other goals? And it's that puzzle, that routing, that thoughts behind, and that how much do I actually know about this game to complete this efficiently is just fascinating and really fun for me. And then once I have the route down, I can kind of go into autopilot a little bit. I get to interact with my chat. We get to talk about the game. We get to talk about other things as I'm going through and doing these goals. And it's fun. For me, it's a lot of fun. I also really like being able to play with others. The game is obviously for one person. There's no co-op mode or anything like that. It's you and the game, and that's it. But I frequently do co-op bingos with other Twitch streamers and just friends on my stream. So it's a great way where we can sit and interact, and we can talk about the game, talk about routing, figure out, okay, well, I'm really good at doing this. I'm gonna go do this. You're really good at doing that. How about you do those goals? I can think of when I play with my friend Sky. She likes doing all the Koroks. So if we're doing a blackout co-op, she likes to do the Korok goals, which is really nice because then that frees me up to do things like I tend to have to do the Redania Divine Beast. And when we play with Dobby Digital, he tends to do Naboris. So that's kind of the thing, like we'll kind of scan the board and we're like, all right, we see Naboris, Dobby's gonna do that. Oh, we see Redania, Katie's gonna go do that. And we now have like our own little community of players that do different things, and we just like getting together once a week and playing. And we're slowly getting more people. So if you're interested, please join my Discord down below. I'll have the link in the description to come talk about Breath of the Wild. Yeah, it's a way to bring community and cooperation and playing together with other people in a game that normally doesn't have that. Now, a lot of people like to race bingos. I haven't really done that. I tend to play with newer players. We're all kind of figuring out this bingo thing together, and so we kind of do it as a co-op because we just find it more fun that way. If you're interested in learning more about this, I do plan on releasing a couple more videos regarding Breath of the Wild bingos, because like I said, I do this a lot on my Twitch channel, and I think it would be a great way for you all to learn more about what I do as a gamer. Some of those videos include how to set up your bingo file, my typical bingo opening, the things that I do before I even really delve into the goals, and my routing strategies, the things that I take into account when I'm picking a row or a column. I also plan on doing a video about my routing strategies, what I kind of take into account when I am choosing a row if I'm not doing a blackout bingo. If you're interested in playing with me, feel free to join my Discord. Like I mentioned before, the link will be in the description below. You can join my Discord, come ask questions. I have a pinned comment with resources about how to get started with bingos. There's so many of us there that are learning more. We love having people come and learn and do more bingos with us, and if we get enough people, we maybe will race groups. But for right now, it's just a lot of fun. It's a great way that if you love the game but get tired of playing it over and over, it's a great way to have fresh eyes and really test your knowledge. And yes, we do look things up. Notes and looking things up are allowed, because as many bingos as I've done, I still tend to look some things up, because I don't know about you, 112 shrines and 900 Koroks, you don't always remember all the little minute details of like, what is that shrine name again? I can tell you where it's at and why I go there, but I might not be able to tell you the name. It's things like that. So yes, we do play notes, we do look things up, and that's kind of standard across bingo players. I also plan on taking some of my Twitch streams and condensing them down for highlights and posting them here on my channel in between my music videos. At the time of recording, I am releasing a music video every other week, and then on the off weeks, I'm going to be doing something for my Twitch channel, something about bingos, little things like that, to just give you a little bit more behind the scenes of who I am as a person and the other content that I produce. So at the time of this recording, I stream Monday nights at 8 p.m., Tuesdays at 11 a.m., and Saturdays at 10 a.m. over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Katie Shesko. Again, link will be in the description below. And all of those times are Eastern Standard Time. I'm on the East Coast of the United States. And yeah, I hope to see you there. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.